Finally, it's a DHC. It's a delayed hyper commentary. This is something that I really intended to do more often in this season of Ultra Chen TV, and I just haven't really gotten around to it very much. I think there's only been one so far. Hopefully, I'll do it more often. But the reason that I'm doing it today is to kind of break down a match that's been going around the old interwebs and causing, quite a bit of stir and a little bit of histrionics and whatever. It's a match that Warren Patton, aka Evil Elvis, a former SoCal CVS2 player and SF4 player as well, he took in Japan. And it's a match between YHC Mochi, a Dhalsim player, and no just Dhalsim player. He's a top sim player, one of the best in the world, has been for years at this point. His opponent is a Hugo player, and I don't know who it is, so I'm just going to call him Dudeface. So it's Mochi Sim versus Dudeface Hugo. And the matchup looks really rough. In it, Mochi uses a buff that Sim got, which is the 2-hit standing medium kick, far standing medium kick. That does 2 hits until just about the tip of the foot. So it's got quite a bit of range on that. And every character in the game can duck it at that range except for apparently Hugo. So Hugo can't. So Mochi pretty much just uses that move and the occasional Yoga Fire and whatnot to lock Dudeface down. And it looks really rough, and people are saying, oh, this looks like the worst matchup in the game, yada yada. And it does look rough, but I want to go through it and kind of break down what I think might have been, could have gone differently. So as far as Sim goes, I've been playing the old Dolly since the early days of Street Fighter 4 Vanilla in the arcade. I played Geef mostly, and I won tournaments with him, but Sagat was always an issue for me. And so Sim was the character that I initially picked up to help me deal with that, but I liked him a lot, so I ended up playing him a lot, just overall. And as far as Hugo goes, I've been fortunate enough to go to a bunch of the tournaments that have had playable builds of the USF4 beta, so I've spent most of my time with those builds using Hugo, and I've gotten a pretty decent understanding of the character, and he doesn't seem to be too different in the final build of the game. So I'll just be talking about what I think Dudeface could have done. And it's not my intention to say that this matchup is an even matchup or that Hugo wins it or that it's not a bad matchup. Maybe it's a bad matchup. But I do think it's too early to call. I do want to see different things tried before we all kind of jump off the horrible matchup cliff. Okay, let's start this now. Like I said, on the left is YHC Mochi, one of the best sim players in the world. We'll see him use some smart stuff. On the right is Dudeface, a Hugo player. And maybe he's really good. I don't know who he is. Hence Dudeface. We'll see Mochi bring out the stand medium kick pretty early on. You'll see that it doesn't juggle. It's only one hit in the air, of course. Which means it does less damage, actually. You see tiny damage out of the air. It's like no big deal. To get hit by that as Hugo is like whatever. So Hugo's tries some things out. Stand Fierce. Okay, he found a range for clap, but that's probably going to be rare. He found a great splash range. We'll go back through this video and see it again. Found a great splash range, but Mochi did the slide instead. There's the splash range, same range. See him beat stand medium kick this time. Try it again. Mochi got out of there though. And there's EX Lariat, and unfortunately he makes the big bet and he doesn't punish Mummy after all. Or maybe he tried. There's a glitch where Hugo gets backbreaker instead of 360 kick or wall throw. But EX Lariat got him through stuff. EX Lariat has a bunch of armor. I forget how many hits. It's like a few. It's like Grundy style. And now we're going to see him try to counter poke things. It's crouching strong. Doesn't seem to be working out. But unfortunately didn't get a chance to use it against the stand medium kick. Mochi's mixing it up a little bit with the stand fierce, which didn't work. EX Meat Squasher only has 1 hit of armor, so no dice. See him back off. That's a good range to attack. You see where it whiffed a little bit right there? That might be a range to remember as the Hugo player. EX Squasher again, no. There's a splash. Unfortunately, it's just too close. It's not at that good range. There's EX Lariat again. This time he makes the good bet with backbreaker. Unfortunately, he goes for, again, so okay, he's figuring it out. EX Lariat. He's learning. Smart man. Unfortunately, pressuring with Hugo with splash is not that great a call. It's not just against Sim, who, as you can see, can knock it down. Just in general. I mean, you don't get that much out of splash. If he hits, you can maybe confirm into crouching short Lariat, EX Lariat, but that's it. Really, his pressure comes from the front and on the ground. Clap, great meaty, It can link into sweep on hit or into other stuff on hit, into super, for example. If it hits the opponent out of backdash, which it can, you can then juggle into backbreaker, which is pretty rad. You have the stand fierce overhead, you have down medium kick overhead, you have the sweep, which is safe. You have, obviously command grabs, meat squasher, wall throw. So he has all these good stuff, good options. They're grounded options, right? They're not like airborne starters. So anyway, let's and starting now. So remember a few of the things that Hugo tried out that worked. EX Lariat, there was that space where he could do splash from, seemed to work pretty well, except for the slide. There was a lot of lessons about which normals work as counter pokes, which don't. There was a range where standing medium kick whiffs, or where it only does one hit, which we'll try to look for that one hit range in this watch through. See where it comes up. So I'm just trying to. Oh, okay. So that was it. You see him get hit by the fire and by the stand medium kick, but he only got hit by. It wasn't actually a combo in there. So that means that the stand medium kick only did one hit at that range. So there is this range where it only does one hit, and that's, I guess, as the Hugo player, a range that you're really going to have to pay attention to. Yeah, there's the EX Lariat. Unfortunately, the big bet. Unfortunately, the lack of punish. As Hugo, maybe this matchup is about getting in once. That's how the Geef matchup goes. In fact, that's how, frankly speaking, most of Sim's matchups go. You can zone out the entire time, let the opponent in once, and then that's it. Then you can die. But yeah, the Hugo's doing a lot of grounded stuff now. Again, he's just testing things out. It's pretty clearly the first time, or the first couple times he's played this. If he didn't do that splash there, maybe he would have just been able to jump through. Again, you see him try that range. He's found it. I mean, he's working on it. He's no idiot. And I don't really know if there's that much else to be gleaned new from this. Just kind of reiterations. There was, EX Squasher's not that great. Some buttons aren't that great. There's that bad range for splash, but there's a great range for splash. There's EX Lariat, just like that. That gets you through stuff. Seems pretty safe. At least Mochi isn't punishing. There's don't media pressure by going to the air. Just stay in the front. There's definitely some good info to be gleaned from this. And I think it's pretty clear that while stand medium kick seems really good against Hugo, there's no doubt about that. There's also no doubt that it has some problems. If it hits the opponent out of the air, it does negligible damage. It can be beaten in the air, or that is to say by airborne attacks at certain ranges. It can be beaten by EX Lariat. There's a range where it doesn't hit twice. There's a range where it only hits once, or where it whiffs, which are both important ranges to keep in mind. And so it does have these potential issues. We didn't see all of that at the very start, but by the end of this one game, you already see Dudeface going to that stuff. So it's not the case that he's completely assed out. Maybe he is assed out to 50 or 60%, but not 100%. So don't go nuts. So we didn't see everything from Dudeface. One thing I haven't seen any Hugo do in any of these videos so far is down medium kick, the little overhead, if you can picture it from Cross Tekken, where he kind of does his third strike looking universal overhead. That goes through projectiles. It has projectile invulnerable frames, and it hits as it's moving forward. I mean, he's kicking, right? He has his knee out. I would love to see how that deals with this. See whether that can beat the stand medium kick or what. And maybe not. I don't know. I mean, maybe that beats stand medium kick and goes through fireballs at the same time. Maybe it doesn't. The point is that Dudeface has the idea of testing everything out. I also have the idea of testing everything out. Presumably this is not Dudeface's first SF4 character or first match or fighting games in general. He knows pretty much how matchups go. Matchups change over time. And let me tell you, early in SF4, I really thought that Geef destroyed Sim. I thought it was like, I don't know, 9-1 Zangief. Then, a little while later, 6 months later or so, I thought it was the complete opposite. Sim 7-3 over Zangief. Horrible match for Zangief. Now, even though Geef got worse, as we've grown to understand the SF4 engine a little bit better and understand the matchup a little bit better, now I think that Geef at least goes even with Sim. Maybe it's 6-4 Geef. And that's been the case with a lot of Sim matchups, and it's the case with a lot of grappler matchups. They tend to change quite a bit because how things look, how they're on, tends to not be how they how they end up. And again, I don't want to make it seem like I think this is going to be a win for Hugo, this matchup. I just think, like, man, shut up about how things look in the very first time Dudeface is trying this matchup out, or like the first 2 or 3 times, right? Like, it's clearly he's just testing stuff. So don't go nuts. Understand also that he's playing against Mochi, and Mochi saw splash beat stand medium kick. So what did he do the next time? He did slide under the splash. He did jump back, intended probably for jump back medium kick. It looked like didn't work, but whatever. He's out of the way, so he knows. But the point is that there's a range where splash will win, and there's probably a same range where jump roundhouse will beat slide, and so forth. There are moves that Dudeface didn't try. These are all things that he's going to have to go through. Now, I'm also not married to this stand medium kick. I think you talk to a lot of sims, you kind of get the idea that it's not that important. It's not really, like, nobody who plays sim thought that was his problem range. It is a very well-targeted button for what it is. It's a button that almost everybody can duck under. The only character who can't is Hugo. So if you're going to pick a button to do 2 hits to blow up focuses, I mean, it's going to be that one, right? Because it blows up focuses, but people can crouch under it, so it's like not a big deal. It's a smart one, but it's just not that important a range to help him out in. He has more problematic areas than that. So if they take it away, it's like not a big deal. I still think that Sim is bad. I think he's bottom 3 for sure in SF4. I don't think it'd be the worst thing if he blew up Hugo for him to have like an actual winning matchup would be pretty solid. It'd be a nice little change of pace. But again, take away stand medium kick, it's not that big a deal. I don't want people to go nuts over what happens the first time Dudeface faces YHC Mochi. It is not that big a deal. All right.